Hello, bitches. We are back with a new episode.
Yeah, that's Nia fully expressing herself. And yeah, I guess for this episode, we really, it's very funny. We recorded an amazing episode, and we're doing this process, as we share this whole surrendering and allowing and trusting in the perfection of every moment. But we'll have the same guest back with even more good.
Yeah, this is exactly it. When you change the perspective, it's going to turn out so much better. And on top of that, we just had a good lesson to learn from. So, yeah. And yeah, we just want to continue to talk about what we have been through and what is one of the most important things, not just only when it comes to manifestation, but in like for life in general. And it's just about you fully accepting and realizing that you are already whole and that you don't need those desires to fulfill you. And by letting them go, it doesn't mean that you push them away, but it means that you can actually experience them on such a higher weight, and just on top of you already feeling awesome. And this also opens the gates to allow things just to come in the most magical way, instead of just looking for the one way that your ego knows.
Yeah, and that's what we kind of want to talk about today is this whole idea of naturally manifesting from wholeness rather than manifesting from lack, which is where so many people get caught in this manifestation trap, which we've talked about in previous episodes, where it's about trying to find something out there to fulfill you and to give you a feeling of completeness, wholeness, good enoughness, feeling worthy, and yeah, like satisfied from within. But that is the trap that gets you into this hamster wheel where you're constantly chasing. And when you are manifesting, we're trying so hard with techniques, affirmations, visualizations, all these sats and different teachers and techniques. You're manifesting from a place of lack, which will only manifest more lack into your reality. So even when you get the thing, you wouldn't feel complete or fulfilled, and it often turns out to be not exactly what you truly desire.
Manifesting from this place is also the reason for those hot and cold results. Maybe you get a splash of what you desire, but you can't hold it, or you just receive breadcrumbs instead of the whole package. The techniques is not what's going to manifest. You are the power, you are the operant power. And techniques are only used, or should be, okay, there are no shoulds or shouldn'ts, but from what we have learned, if you want to use techniques, then just for fun or as reminders to remind you that, yep, this is already mine. I don't need to stress about it. I don't need to try so hard anymore. You just have to remind yourself throughout the day if you want to or if you need to, but it's not anymore that, oh yeah, I need to do this in order to get, because this is just again manifesting from lack, and this will just cause more trouble, resistance, and confusion.
And yeah, that's exactly it. Because when you are, and that's the thing, when you come from a place of wholeness, like not needing your manifestations or desires because you already have it, you are it all. That's when, these techniques come up naturally. Like you'll just find yourself naturally visualizing or affirming, but it doesn't come from a place of, oh my gosh, I'm in lack, I don't have this, therefore I need to do this in order to get this result. But it's more like, oh, what feels best? I'm already whole and I'm already fulfilled and complete. Now, what do I want to experience? Not to complete me, but simply for the sake of just the experience itself. So then you don't even need to even think about it. We're living your head. You will just naturally, for example, if you're manifesting a relationship, just naturally have, visions or feelings that you are with your person or in the love. And it's just so natural. It's so easy. There's no effort behind it.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing I want to touch on is manifesting from heart, which is love, versus manifesting from the mind, which is just fear and the ego. And this just comes with trying to change your inner world to match your desires, which is again just this whole controlling your thoughts, controlling your emotions. And the thing is, you don't need to control anything. You just have to let go of all this hard work, of all this trying, of all this struggling, and you just have to allow. Because when you know your desires are coming from your higher self, from your God self, or whatever you want to call it, and when you know, okay, my desires are coming from myself, then I don't need to figure something out. I just have to have the courage to let it in, to allow it, and to give up all these doing to get and all these concepts made by society. And it's no longer living from the outside in, but really from the inside out. And this means knowing that, I am already what I desire, or better said, my desires actually desire me.
Yeah, and really there is no separation, right? And that's a good distinction of really tuning in and being honest with yourself. Like, what is your actually true, pure heart desires versus what you think you should want based on the conditionings of society, right? And, of course, we can manifest anything, but often, for an example, like before I was consciously awakened, I was manifesting from the ego, from the mind, all these like so-called success in the external world, in the career, in the corporate world. But it's not my true heart desires. I mean, I manifested it, but I felt so empty and unfulfilled inside, even after manifesting it. And that's when I just really had to be honest, like, what do I truly want? Not what I think I should want, what I think it's good for me, and really tapping into the heart and being honest with yourself and facing the fears that the mind comes up that tells you that you should be this one way or this one identity or have this one reality that you should want.
Yeah. And I could also tell a bunch of stories, but what Ariel means is just, sometimes you just, because we are always growing, we are always expanding, we are always evolving, that sometimes you just outgrow these old desires and you are just more interested in another thing you haven't been aware of before. But that's totally okay. And life is not linear. It's not just that, oh yeah, you have this one vision and this is what you're gonna stick with for the rest of your life. Nope, it's actually not that thing. And this is something I had to learn because I was so fixated on one vision or like one specific way of how I wanted my life to look like. But then when I went for it, it doesn't really felt aligned anymore. But my ego was like, no, you want this, keep going, this is going to be awesome. And then I just found myself burning myself out and just forcing things, trying things. And I'm speaking about university or business and just this like career, identifying myself so much with my career, and that I couldn't see the whole picture of what I actually want to do. And and the search for it, like, okay, what do I really want to do? The search itself kept me stuck again. And now I'm just like, okay, good, we let this go, we just fully surrender and live in the present moment and allow things just to come. I mean, I have some directions or some things I like, but they just really feel good, and I don't need to know all the details because my higher self or my God self knows exactly what I want, and I don't need to figure all this stuff out.
Yeah, yeah. And there's no need to pre-plan in the way that, like, where it's coming from a place of wanting to control. And again, we're not living in linearity anymore and really transcending the linear time. And also, like, just everything on our journey is serving us, right? It's serving our highest good and our growth and our expansion. So nothing is wrong. You never made a mistake. It's not a failure. I would even, remove those concepts at all. And I mean, those are human 3D concepts, constructed concepts as well. And really true success and defining that for yourself, but also like transcending the duality of success and failure itself, and just being with what is and allowing the nature of your true desires, your God self, your flow to come through you and naturally guide you. And it's so easy and natural once you like just surrender your ego or your mind's like trying to grasp onto something and certainty and the illusion of really certainty and control, and rest in your greater self that always has your back, always has a plan that's better than what you can conceive of. And just trusting in that and trusting your inner compass and yourself. But I mean, even that takes a lot of courage and deconditioning in the beginning to build that trust.
Yeah, courage is maybe the keyword for today's episode. And even I, during the last week, just had a nudge to record a whole episode on courage and what I'm going through and so on. And I just realized, or I came across a quote that really resonated with me, and this is really helpful also to calm down my ego, is that you can't do life wrong. You just can't. Like, life is just meant for you, and you just have to allow it and not seeing like one area as good, one as me. It's just one big picture, and it's just an adventure, and it's all about getting to know yourself more and just exploring as a child, just allow yourself to explore life and to see the beauty and allow the beauty to come in, and not trying to figure something out or trying to fix something. And also a big thing is also not trying to prepare for the worst, because you're too afraid of losing things, and just sitting with the fear instead, and not following or operating from the fear, or or doing actions based on the fear. I mean, there is no one action that you can take, but I will just invite you guys to see, okay, where are these actions really coming from, especially those who are combined with a lot of resistance and tension and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And the more you resist where you are right now, and I feel like so many people in the manifestation community are resisting what is present. That's why they're trying to manifest something to change their so-called outer reality. But really, when you're coming from that place, again, from lack and dissatisfaction with the present, like that resistance is going to bleed into the future of your manifestations. So it's going to perpetuate the state of lack, dissatisfaction, and tension, which will lead to, things like burnout, physical exhaustion, mental exhaustion. So the really key is here just to really training yourself. First of all, being willing to face your fears and recognizing them as ultimately also illusions, that you're always safe, that you're always provided for, and really allowing yourself to trust in that, like lean back and trust that you'll be, caught by your greater self. And also then allowing yourself to really just be present and training yourself to see everything as perfect, as divinely perfect.
Mhm.
Even in the human messiness, that there is a greater perfect unfolding.
Yeah, and for your true self, this is all just a play and a lot of fun instead of what your little self. I mean, there was no separation, but your little self is just seeing things as ooh, mess. But in general, it's just all part of the process. And yeah, I guess we can just close out this episode with something that I heard this week is no more swimming upstream, but swimming downstream. And this is just following the natural flow of life.
Yeah, the natural flow. And, I come from an Eastern background, and we call it the natural Tao, the universal Tao, and you're one with that. It's just, there's no resistance. It's just pure flow. Be like water. I mean, Bruce Lee's famous quote, be like water. Yeah. And we'll leave you guys at that to digest and integrate. And stay tuned for so many exciting upcoming episodes. And it will really, we're really dedicated to helping you change your life, and really come from a place of wholeness and flow. So we'll also be offering some really amazing sacred resources and places where you can play with us. So yes.
Yeah, stay tuned and thank you so much for listening. And we will talk to you guys in the next episode.